I'm calling to order the regular meeting of the City of Ojai Historic Preservation Commission, January 8th, 2026, Thursday at 6 p.m. Members of the public wishing to address the Historic Preservation Commission on items appearing on the agenda are requested to complete a speaker's card, if in person, and file it with the secretary. Cards are available in the lobby, and speakers should state their name for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Okay, the public wishing to,
Roll call.
okay, roll call. And roll call, please.
Chair McCatton,
Here.
Vice Chair Sims,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Here.
Commissioner Basasha,
Here.
Commissioner Walker,
Here.
and our new Commissioner Kate Neeson,
Here.
Commissioner Akins.
Here.
That's a lot of us. Okay, can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So public communication. Public communication is time set aside during the Historic Preservation Commission meeting for members of the public to address the HPC on items of city business other than scheduled agenda items. Matters raised at this time may be briefly discussed by the commission and will generally be referred to staff and/or placed on a subsequent agenda. Under state law, other than for emergency items, no action will be taken at the meeting. Do we have any public communication? This is, yes,
On
we do.
items other than what's on the agenda?
Just as speaking during general public comments. Connor Riley?
Hello, everyone. My name is Connor Riley. I am the new city beat reporter at Ojai Valley News, and I just wanted to introduce myself. I'll be at these meetings, and yeah, glad to meet you all. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay. Is anybody, any other online? Anybody out there in the,
No.
no? Okay. All right, so I'm going to close public comment, and now we're going to go to a museum report. Do we have anything?
If I could interrupt real fast.
Sure.
I'm thinking maybe we could take this time to introduce our new commissioner, Kate Neeson. She joins us here. She's an archaeologist, works at Rincon Consultants, and I think I'll let you introduce yourself, say a couple things if you'd like.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Nice to meet you. I'm happy to be here. Excited to get involved. I grew up in Ojai and Miners Oaks, and I went to Oak Grove for high school, UCSB for college, and yeah, now I work in archaeology for an environmental consulting firm. So I have some experience, but I'm excited to get more. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you for being here, being our number 7.
Thank you. Now, museum report?
Yes. So we have a very interesting exhibit that's coming up that should be even more interesting to those of us on the commission. From Wendy, I got a text message that says, "Women of the Ojai Valley, 100 Years of History opens next week. Reception during third Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. on January 16th. There'll be 3 town talks with the exhibit February 1st, February 22nd, and March 15th. I've been marginally involved in this, but in some ways very involved in this. So much of the part of the information that's being used within this goes to oral history reports that we began with I began with when working mainly with Joyce Robinson clear back in 2012. So when they're like, okay, where's the copy of this video? I'm like, yeah. So, but they've been working very hard on that. They've digitized some of the items and then transcribed some of the oral history reports. So I'm very excited to see it happen. So good thing.
the consent item of the minutes of December 11th, regular meeting. Do you have any changes?
Is your microphone on?
Sorry about that. Consent item for the minutes of December 11th meeting. Do we have any changes? Anyone?
Minutes. I move that we accept the minutes as is.
We have a second?
I'll second.
All right, roll call, please. Abstain.
Hold on. Moore,
Yes.
Basasha,
Yes.
Sims, McHatton,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Neeson,
Abstained?
Akins.
Yes.
All right.
Right along.
Now we're gonna go on to our discussion items. Number one.
Number
Number
one,
two.
number two, the first discussion item is continued this evening. This was the consideration of revised plans for a minor work permit for a project located at 700 San Antonio. And this has been continued to the February 12th meeting due to the fact that the plans weren't in on time to get them into the packet.
Okay, do we need to do anything official, or is that's it?
That's it, just an acknowledgement.
Okay, let's move on to item 3, which is the major work permit.
So this is an amendment to a major work permit 25008, and it's regarding a previously approved renovation at 102 North Signal Street. The current request includes amending the approval related to the transom above the entry. The previous approval included replacement of the existing storefront with a wood frame system proposed to be flush with the exterior wall with a door opening inward. And the new transom was approved to be installed above the storefront, replacing an existing stucco panel. The request for an amendment includes repairing the existing stucco above the existing storefront system and not installing that new transom. Because the contractor discovered that while in the process of removing the existing stucco, in order to do it to create what was approved, would be detrimental to the integrity of the structural framing. So the amendment results in less of a change from the existing facade. Included on your plans, however, not noticed, but in your plans. So the notices aren't specifically detailed with every little detail in the plan, because that just wouldn't be possible. Anyway, there are also light fixtures that are proposed that are on your plan, and those are called Troy lights, and they are turn of the century oxidized metal finish. They're iron. And so those are also part of your discussion this evening.
Okay. Anybody like to, do we have any?
Oh, I'm sorry, and we have the applicant here.
Yeah,
And, Jeff, if you'd like to step up and state your name and add to anything I missed or left out.
Good evening, commission members. Back here again on the 102 Signal storefront. So during the construction, we had our rock guy out who was going to add rock to that surround, which was approved. And of course, we ran into a roughly 30-inch by 30-inch gray beam that surrounds the storefront. And in order to get the rock flush with the existing wall, we would have had to jackhammer into it, which didn't seem like a great idea to me. So that is the impetus for our request to modify it. So in essence, we put the whole wood storefront in. The transom is in there, it's just a little bit lower. So there's a transom appearance there which matched what the plans were. But we didn't touch the gray beam because it's a structural gray beam. And then we plastered that, basically plastered it and cleaned up the finish. So that's the kind of the off-white color. So that is in. It's the paint colors are the paint colors that we had designated. And then we had 2 light fixtures that we added, one just centered above the entry, which there was an existing electrical box there. They just didn't have a light on it. And then we actually did replace the light fixture above the tortilla factory with a matching. Troy Lighting is the manufacturer, and it's an oxidized iron metal finish. So it's pretty low key. It kind of disappears during the day. Doesn't take really much of the look away from the storefront or the rock. So that's what we have.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant?
Actually, a question for us.
Microphone.
Thought I still had it on. And so my question is, did we need to do disclosures on this?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Okay. I only say that because I've toured the facility with Mr. Becker.
Right,
And had
so.
it explained to me, so.
So just what this means, Commissioner Neeson, is that if you visited the site and/or discussed with the property owner or someone at the site, then you want to disclose that when it comes around to you.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, I did get a tour. I did look at it with Mr. Becker, and I thought it turned out very nicely, very nicely.
Can we go around the dais then, please, since we're doing the disclosures right now?
Did you have a question? Yeah, I didn't visit the site, just drove by, and I can't remember, did you remove
I'm sorry,
or
can we just do the disclosures now, since we
Oh, the
missed that part of the,
disclosures, okay.
we missed that on the agenda, and then let's get back to where we are right now. So, so Kate, did you visit the site?
I did not visit.
Okay, thank you. And Commissioner Walker,
No.
you did not, okay.
Just a drive-by.
I've been there 3 times in the last week.
No discussions, just visit.
I did a drive-by a couple days ago, but that's it.
No.
Okay, thanks. So now, go back to asking questions of the applicant. And then you can get into your discussion.
Mr. Walker, were
I
you?
just wondered if you'd added or subtracted any of the stones that were coming down from the top.
Yeah, they added about 5 small stones to try to level the edge of the plaster on top. I don't know if you remember, but it kind of went sort of wonky, we'll say, on the, I guess that would be the south elevation on the top end. And those stones they put in, there's about 5 of them, very small though.
So it's more even along the top?
It's even now, yeah.
Yeah, that's
It
good.
still has that keystone that was there. I don't know if
Yeah.
you remember that, but there's kind of a keystone, and then this was off to the right of it. It was kind of, I don't know if that happened when they put the gray beam in. They probably removed some rocks or some fell out, but now it's pretty even. It's really hard to tell that they were missing, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
because that one kind of stuck out like a sore thumb
Yeah.
coming down, yeah.
Yeah. And there was some concrete that we cleaned too. There must have been some sort of maybe an awning or something before. There was like a
Oh, yeah.
small line
Yeah,
of
yeah.
concrete. I don't know if you remember that. So that was, our rock guy removed that, cleaned that up as well, and cleaned the stones.
Anyone else? Yes, Rick?
I have a couple questions about the lights. Are you required by the city to have some kind of lighting out there? Is that why you put it there, or is it just an embellishment?
Well, it's now an entry, so, that's kind of sort of mandatory to have an entry light.
Right,
And,
Okay.
because there's no vestibule or undercarriage there to put like a hidden fixture or something, so.
it's kind of like a porch light in a way,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And also, so this Troy light, is that like a copy of something historic, or is it like a facsimile or an idea of a historic lamp?
Yeah, the Troy Lighting series that they picked from is a historic series. I've used them on some other buildings, actually, including the old Bard Hospital building down in Ventura. And so they're pretty heavy-duty metal. That's actually why I like them. They're really solid. fixtures, but it is from their historic lighting, and it's kind of I'd say a turn-of-the-century style. And it also, we also have the dark sky, so this has got a kind of a rounded shield,
Mhm.
the fixture does.
Well, that's what I was kind of trying to get to, like, is it like an interpretation of something, or is it an actual copy of a historic light fixture? Do you know?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's definitely an old-style looking fixture,
style,
but I'm
yeah,
not sure if they
right.
copied a previous
Okay,
fixture. Yeah, I'm not sure.
okay, thank you.
Where was Edward Libby from? Where was his glass shop? Do you remember? Does anybody know that by heart?
It's in
Where was
Ohio.
Edward Libby's glass store, his facilities? It's in Ohio, right?
Ohio.
Do you know where in Ohio?
Toledo?
Yeah, it's just funny because that's what it's called, the Toledo Collection, and
Yeah, right.
so it's just just was wondering because I just thought that was
Right.
a little, bonus nod because it's.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a nice fixture. It has like an oxidized iron metal finish. So it is a nice fixture.
Anybody? Yes?
Well, just as a point of me understanding how things work, not about anything else, I don't understand why we didn't see this before you installed it, so that we could have had an opinion about the light, both the lights.
Oh, the fixtures?
And it doesn't, I mean, I'm no electrician, but I've looked at this 3 times now. It looks terrible the way it's been installed. Have you looked at it?
Yeah,
It looks
I have.
awful.
Yeah, the issue is the original box, because of the rock, it's sort of a weird setup because you've got the original rock, so the electrician kind of wanted to, normally that's like,
Yeah, it's set in.
right, set in, and so they wanted to start chiseling that in to inset it. So they have played around with it twice.
Can they put like a flange around it to, it could be just stuck to
ordered-
the,
So they ordered some what they call, flat pancake boxes, which are a little shallower. So and those are actually, they have them in, they're gonna do it on Monday, but those are not as deep. And so my hope is that the base with those smaller, skinnier, kind of boxes will kind of hide it.
because I'm just
But
thinking if you
I
put
know
a
what you're
flange,
talking
you
about,
know what
'cause
I'm talking about.
I've had them there a couple times. I actually was up on a ladder, just trying to figure out if we could chisel into the rock.
Is it waterproof?
Yeah, it is, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I had them put a gasket on the existing box, but, yeah, it's a little bit of a weird install. I don't know if you saw that, did you look at the one on the tortilla?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
In fact, it was not on tonight, but the one on 102 was on tonight.
Yeah, it's the same picture,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that other fixture that they had was, very MacIvered. It was definitely funky, so, yeah.
So to answer,
They might be able to chisel in a little bit, but I wanted to get the boxes first. The skinnier box, we'll call it. It's not as deep, so it won't be as obvious, but yeah, it's, all that, it's not a flat surface. That's the biggest problem. Yeah, it's definitely a weird, it's just an older rock building, so it's a little tricky.
can you possibly answer the other part of her question about why it was installed before it came here?
We had already ordered them and it was on the plan, so, honestly, we had the new tenant coming in and there was no light. So,
Yeah, but that's no excuse
yeah,
for doing
I guess I
something
could've
to a
just put a-
historic building.
yeah, I'm guilty. We could have just put a bulb on it, but, I wanted to see how the fixture looked too. So,
Okay, does anybody else have anything they'd like to add? I think there's one thing that we want to discuss, but I think as a commission, not with you, maybe in a future agenda item, is working on the paint colors, so there's not a discrepancy of what I'm seeing on my screen, what I'm seeing here, than what we see on the building, and so there's no question, so.
So what you're seeing, so I was actually wondering about opening that up this evening just a tiny bit because it's not on the agenda to talk about. But, so what you're seeing on the screen is probably accurate as opposed to on the plan. So there was a question to me by a commissioner, and I've already discussed it with Jeff about the colors on the building, and so we're having color swatches ordered from Sherwin-Williams, or actually Jeff has them himself, to compare what the name, what was approved as to what's out there.
I think it just would be helpful that, just that we eventually, as a future agenda item, maybe work to where we have swatches again, so we don't have to.
So for future items, absolutely.
Right. But
Understood. Yep.
does anybody have any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you
Anybody
want to close the public hearing and discuss?
Do we have anybody want to speak to this item that's open to public comment? No? And out in the internet?
No.
No? Okay, let's close public comment, and now us.
I'm sorry, if you could fill out a blue card and hand it to me and then stand up at the podium, that would be great. And at the podium, you'll say your first and last name? Or I guess he could have done that first and then filled out the card.
Yeah, I met Jacob yesterday afternoon, and he attended the planning commission meeting last night. So we kind of walked through steps last night on the different things. Today he's riding solo, so.
So Jacob, if you want to just state your name and you can hand me the blue card after.
And his comment is about,
I'll
and
take it.
this is about 102 Signal?
It's about this item?
It's about how to fill out forms. So if he has the issue of doing something wrong, he should have at least like a 40-second walkthrough video to send as like a text message in order for you guys to see it like as fast as possible. Because maybe he could have fixed the slab and then reinstalled the light differently if he had that video and then had the information, oh, this is like this and that. So like a form that would say like who you are, what you're doing, where you're from, when are you doing this, and like why it's about, is like an idea that I thought to fix the discrepancy.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. I'm going to press that down. Thanks.
And public comment is closed. Do you have anything that would you like to discuss about this before we take it to a vote? No? Moran? Rick? Oh.
Well, as much as I like the idea of filling in with those rocks, I really appreciate the willingness to back off and say, we don't want to cause any damage, so we're not going to take that route. And I think it's okay in this situation because neither that back doorway nor those front windows were historic to the actual garage that was there originally, and it was more part of a redo on the building in 1927. So I think that having the back door match those front windows a little bit is a good feature. So I would be in favor of approving it.
Are we ready for that to be your motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
Do we
I'll
have those?
second that.
Okay, roll call, please.
Moore,
Yes.
Basasha,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes.
McHatton,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Neeson,
Yes.
Akins.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chuck. All right, we're going to go on to our next item, which is item number 4, and it's for our joint council meeting on February 8th. Do we have a staff report?
Yes, so the tentatively scheduled meeting is actually for February 24th. Did you
Oh.
just say the 8th? February 24th?
It says meeting date the 8th, but I see it says the 24th there, so it's just an error on the,
Yeah, because today's date is January 8th and it says February. That's true. So that's the problem. So today is January 8th, but the tentative meeting date for a joint meeting with the council is on February 24th. And this is a time for the commissioners to discuss what they'd like to put on that agenda for that joint meeting. And we've just included a couple items here with budget request and training. But really, it's open to you to decide what you'd like to bring to that discussion.
Can I start? I think that some of the things that are still left over from last year that we're working on, I would like to have a discussion with council. One is making sure that the survey, the contracts get signed and they get started, and we are working efficiently toward adoption. And just may want to update council on that, and I'd like that to be something that is hopefully quick, but just I think it's important that we bring that back up.
So I'm sorry, do you want to talk about the survey with the council? The contracts, just so you know, the contracts are just the contracts are between the city and the consultant. They don't have to go back to the council,
Right.
and the contracts have been prepared. So I just don't know how.
I think it's just a refresh that this is what we are working on in 2026, and just to kind of, make sure that they know that that is a high priority of what we're doing. And then the train, please remind me what we decided to call it.
The Railroad Heritage Trail.
Thank you. And to update them on that. Do you know if it's going to be on the agenda for next week?
At the city council?
City council?
No, that will not. To my knowledge, it's not on that agenda.
Okay.
It was going to be on the 13th.
Okay. And then we wanted to also, we had a tentative plan for 2025 to have a ad hoc with 2 members of council, which is Councilwoman Meng and Councilwoman Leslie. And I was hoping that we would be done by 2025, but we are still in the thick of it. And it's everything that we start to talk about becomes this kind of blooms out. So we wanted to just get permission from council again to continue that through, till we can finish it. The council, the 2 council people are on board to continue and to get this finished. So, and Craig and myself are willing to keep it going. So I know that ad hocs usually have a start and finish date, and we were hoping to have it at the end of 25. So we just want to extend it till we can get it done. So that's another thing that we wanted to talk about.
Share a question before you move on.
Yes.
So which ad hoc are you talking about?
This is the one we're working on our procedures, and we want to have like a flow chart of when something comes to us, when it doesn't, why it does, and how. What is the document? I'm sorry, I'm really jet lagged right now.
It's a flow chart?
No, the one that we've been working on, the A to O, the procedures.
Oh, the functions and powers.
Yes, the functions and powers document. So we've been trying to hit a few of them every time we meet, and trying to understand, when we read this, what does it mean to us, and what does it mean to council? And if we understand that this is our meaning, then we are trying to get this kind of list that then goes to Maura and to Lucas to try, and possibly to the attorneys to see if we all are in agreement that that is our functions and powers. This is why something and when something comes to us. Because we were kind of hitting our head against the wall in 24 and 25, trying to, we felt like we were chasing some of the items after they had already happened, like the Lavender Inn, and just ones that kind of hit around us. And so we wanted to stop the frustration, and even if it comes out eventually that it's not in the right order that we want it, maybe we can't see things in the way that we want to, at least we know and we understand it, and we're all in agreement, and we all have this. So it's just been quite a journey, and I thank you. Kim has been just amazing. Thank you so much for your patience.
It's been fun, learning a lot. Thank you.
And so I just wanted to get that on there too, as far as just making sure that council knows that we need some more time with that. And then the other thing that we wanted to talk about was we know that now that we have our plaque, we have our downtown historic district that is everyone knows it exists, but we want to have more education about it. We want the community to learn more about why the arcade looks the way it looks, why the downtown grew the way that it grew. And, there's so much to be thankful for and proud of when you talk about our downtown. And it's so much bigger than one sandwich board or one orange bench or, whatever, that you see people talk about online or you just get frustrated with. And it started a whole kind of way of being in compliance was through a complaint. And I really feel strongly that is not ever a good way to do things, that we need to be, think of it as a whole. It's not one store, it's a district, and we're all in this together to protect it and to have our stores be strong and flourish, and we need to work together and educate what we do so we can help. And I think the best way, we talked about our pop-up that we did at Ojai Day, that maybe doing that a couple of times a year, maybe trying to find opportunities to go over and understanding the design guidelines and what they mean and why they're in place. And so if you look at what our functions and powers are, it really does come back to us for a lot of the, for compliance as well too. One thing I don't like to be is the bad guy, but I think this is the time when it's really important that the HPC together just kind of educates everyone of why the arcade looks the way it has looked for 100 years and why it's important, why the plaza is important. And so we want to talk about education, reach out to our shopkeepers, our property owners, our stakeholders, the community, and just give them opportunities to learn about it. So that was something that I think that we all really felt strongly about. How, we're not sure how exactly and when, but and what would be the best ways, but we want to be able to work on that. So I don't know if anybody else has anything that they want to include in our joint council, or if you don't think we should be talking about this stuff. Anybody?
Well, I just would like to reiterate what you were saying about the design guidelines for the arcade and the downtown. I noticed there was someone that was an arcade store owner who was called out by the city for having an inappropriate sign, and the letter was posted on social media, and the responses of the people that were responding to that letter, kindly asking that maybe they change the sign to meet the guidelines. It showed me that there was a lot of misunderstanding about the guidelines and a lot of need for education, like you were saying. So I think it would be worthwhile to include at least a little conversation with the council about what can we do, because it's one thing to have a design guideline to preserve and protect your historic buildings, and they're only so good as you can enforce them, and that the public understands them and wants to support them as well. So I think that would be worthwhile.
Is the commission aware that that we've already discussed with the city council having a workshop or a forum that's in the planning stages right now, and that's to have a public meeting it's already been talked about with city council, and we've gotten the blessing to invite property owners, tenants and the public for the arcade and Arcade Plaza, and it would be regarding signage, outdoor dining, and outdoor displays. And so it's a forum or workshop to educate everyone before going from this reactive to more of a proactive approach. It wouldn't be appropriate to really go out there and do a sweep. We want to make sure everybody is educated as to what the design guidelines are, as well as the municipal code, but mostly the design guidelines when it comes to the arcade, right? And we're not going to do the entire downtown area. We're going to stick with the arcade because it is specific. And then give like a grace period and then start to help people and become more proactive. But again, we're not going to just go out there and do a sweep. We need to educate people first. So you're both talking about that. So I just wanted to make sure that you
Well, I know
know
that you and
that
I
this
have-
is that this is in the works. Just so now you know it's in the works and it's been blessed by council, and it's something that is in the planning stages.
Because I think a lot of people don't understand that there's a difference between like the Arcade Plaza design guidelines, the East End of Ojai design guidelines, and the guidelines that are specific to a landmark or a historic district. They're a completely different kettle of fish, and I don't think a lot of people really understand that. And so they think, well, you can allow neon signs if we say you can allow neon signs in the arcade, but there's a whole structure of our historic ordinance that has a little different path that those guidelines take from the ones like the Arcade Plaza or other areas of the city.
And that's what we want to educate people on. And just so anyway,
Yeah.
you want to
Right,
talk
so-
about what you
So
want to.
will Gina be a part of those?
Right, well, you,
It's-
when we had talked, you had asked if maybe we could put on a presentation. So is-
So the details of of this workshop, I'm going to call it a workshop or forum, I can't discuss them right now, just it's not on the agenda, and again, it's in the planning stages. We've just gotten the blessing from the city council, and so when we start to roll that out, or the planning, then we can have more conversations.
So maybe what we ask council is that we are included in that.
I don't know if you need to ask council. We've already had a blessing to move forward with this, and so we need to move forward with it. And if it's something that you want to put on your discussion with the council, that's fine. But again, it's already been blessed. It's just that we have to get to it, okay?
Right. I
Okay.
just don't want
And as
to
far as the details of it, I don't know that we want to get into that right now, because
Right.
again, that specific topic is not on the agenda.
Exactly.
Okay.
But once we go back to our functions and powers, and when we talk with our council people, a lot of times the HPC, we're like right there, and all of a sudden it kind of, here's the HPC, it's like, and then it keeps going. It's like, we want to make sure that that our talent, our passion, our education that we have spent so long to develop here, so we have something to offer, is appreciated in a way that when these things come up, when you're planning something that is an education function regarding a downtown district that's historic, that we aren't, it's like, oh, we've got it. It's like, that's why I want to talk to council, just to make sure that I know you've got it, but we'd like to make sure that it's written in there somewhere in these planning stages that the HPC is part of the education. So I'm not sure how to do that. And I think that's asking council to just, when there's an education opportunity for historic preservation, that the Historic Preservation Commission is included. So that's, yeah. Yes, Brian?
So I have an item, I was gonna bring it up, either under future agenda items or under Historic Preservation Commission meeting schedule. But in looking at this and listening to what you were just saying, you said, well, we have a plaque and we have a downtown historic district. Well, we don't really have a downtown historic district. We have a state historic district, We do not have a local historic district. And when things changed on January 9th of last year, there was the thought or the discussion that once we hit Ojai Day, that we would then go back to a local downtown historic district. And I don't see a local downtown historic district mentioned anywhere in these documents or in the discussion that you just shared
Well,
with us.
So
I'd
you
really
know-
like to know what's going on, because I have boxes that are sitting there waiting to know what's going to happen to them.
when I came onto the commission, I took those classes at USC, the first starter classes, and I asked the dean there what would be the best thing that we could do, and she said a local district, and that's when I brought it to you and to you were the vice chair at the time, and to Darwin about possibly doing a downtown historic district, and it's been such a driving force of what I wanted to do from the very beginning. And then COVID hit, and we kept the three, you and me and Craig, worked on it for such a long time. But somewhere along the way, it got stuck in the mud. And the only reason that I'm not mentioning it now is because of that education function. It's like I just want to take, I want to put the, I want to put the horse in front of the carriage, not the carriage in front. I think and I'm happy to talk about the local district however you want to. I just want to educate people first, because I feel like there's so much misinformation about what we do, just how upset when we talk about something so, low-hanging fruit like the structures of merit, and it's just like, we have so much of a strange reaction to something that can be so helpful. So much of what we are capable of doing is helpful. But somehow our message is that we just create problems and get stuck in the mud with people. And so I feel like our first part of 2026 has got to be this reach out and education of what we do. So when we come to when we have this survey and it's adopted, and we're able to look at that and understand like what the structures of merit should be and what the local district should be and all of these things, we have more public buy-in because they're part of it. They have been included and they have been educated, and we have their questions answered. So we're not so, oh no, and this person and this 50 plus one and it's like it was just, it's too important to fail, because that right now we got really lucky with the state district, and it covers that area of downtown. It's the Libby story. But the story that our local district told was from the Rancho era to the mid-century. It tells a much more complete picture of the growth of Ojai, and it's important that we look at that story. And but we can't fail at it. We have to make sure that we're doing it right. And I don't know exactly how that is, except that we need public buy-in more so they understand why it's important and why we all want to be here in Ojai and what this feeling that we all get here. We need to make it more tangible and have people understand what we can do to help it's just that last component before a local district is and while of course the survey is going on it's just, I don't know, it's like a PR tour, to explain what we do. Yes.
Well, I was going to say too, I think that the professional survey that we're doing this year, will help to clarify a lot of what is and what should be included in the downtown historic district. I think that will really help, and will also help in the education, not only of us, but the community as well. So I think that we kind of decided to do that with the structures of merit, is to let the survey play out and let it help us to define how we want to approach those two things. And I think that's not a bad move to do. I think having all that professional input will be a big help for us.
It's just, patience, and then that's something where it's hard when the three of us have put in so many months and work and time, and it's hard to have that sort of patience, but it's too important to not to get it right, and I just want to.
So let me comment. As the one person who has contacted all of the business owners that are downtown, which means I've talked to probably more people downtown than all of you combined. We did a concerted effort, as goes on this effort, not generally. I know you all know a lot of people, and that's why you're on the commission. So we did a concerted effort in going through and having the commission work and coming up with the questions that we putting the information out to people. When I met with the people, they got a wealth of information that we had prepared and that was shared with them digitally, personally, audio, and we were just very close at that time. We got sidelined by a council who, in one meeting, decided that they were going to put a deadline on us when a deadline had never been mentioned. We got to that point in talking with the people, and it was kind of corralling the last votes and getting them to move over to a yes vote, which is where they were willing to go.
And if it was a no vote at all, it counted as a no.
Oh,
which
I am probably the most informed.
Yeah, I was just saying it for the record.
Who was a yes and who was a
So,
no and how it's
Yeah,
counted.
it's hard, especially during COVID. It was hard to get hold of these people, and then so if they didn't want to respond, if they didn't care either way, they didn't want to respond, it counted as a no. So that was something that also affected the outcome of
It was, and we took all of those things in mind. So we were very close by the end in wrapping it up and in bringing it to them. And in fact, if you look at the package that was prepared by Mara for January 9th, it was a very complete package with all of this information. And then all of a sudden, we weren't doing it. It was sidelined. I didn't know that, but it was sidelined. A lot of work that went into that. So now we're talking about, well, we need to give people more education. I mean, the education, the negative education came from one individual. We actually had that person here in our meeting and allowed that discussion to take place for 45 minutes to clearly understand what her objection was. And so when I went to talk to people following that meeting, I always gave them a copy of that meeting itself, a video copy, so that they could watch that, so they could see what the opposition was and then what the truth was as we answered those questions. So I mean.
So how do you feel? How do you feel, Loran? I mean, anybody want to speak, Rick? I mean, where do you?
I don't think we need to go local right now. I agree exactly with you and with you, Craig. We need to finish what we've started, and we may even want to do, this is a national district. We can do that.
Again,
Could
yeah.
be.
And that would be a very beneficial thing as well. There may be more grant money, there may be more. I just think there are people that are still upset about what went on trying to make it a local district. And I know they're upset, and I know they will always be upset. And I think it's going to take a while for this to play out. And I think that this is not the year to be poking people, especially if we're going to go down and do a
survey.
Not a clean sweep, but we're going to try to educate people on, there are too many things that we're trying to educate people about. And, I can just hear it now with us having to say, well, you're not supposed to have these signs, and you're not supposed to do this, and you're not supposed to do that. And then I can see the local district coming into all this, and I just know what's going to happen.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I asked you to speak, because I know that you seem to have a relationship, because with a lot of
I do,
of these.
and I have a relationship with people that you all don't even know, that are personal to me. And I have conversations with people that go far deeper than what I'm willing to talk about here, because it's not appropriate. I mean, I'm a private person, and I talk to people and they ask me questions. And I know when I first came on this commission, I had questions. Why are you doing this? I don't understand. This is ridiculous. You know, at that point, I don't even think people understood, and I still don't think they understand what the state district gives them. It gives them a lot, and they're not even educated about that. And you know, that's one thing you and I have talked about.
Yeah.
They have all this available to them, even with the gentleman that was in here, with electrical, with all sorts of stuff, that I don't think any of them seem to know anything about. And that's too bad. So we need to spend our time finishing up this before we expand. That's my opinion. And the survey we're gonna get is gonna be a beneficial help to all of this, to adding to the local district and having a lot of weight behind what we want when we do that.
I hear what you're saying. Again, I'm the one that talked to not only the business people, but the people that own the property. I talked
Right,
to
but
them
you don't get the
individually.
feedback that people gave me about the conversations that they had. So
I got feedback.
Okay,
If
I don't
they,
wanna
if
go
they
into
didn't
it.
like it, they said no, and if they did
Okay,
like it and they
okay.
had
let's
further
not
questions,
cross
they
that.
asked me.
Let's just
So,
have everybody.
well,
Oh, wait,
well,
we
ti-
already, we heard from you. I just want to hear if anybody else wants to just talk out instead of across. Rick, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I don't really have anything to add. I just, I certainly concur with what the city is trying to do with this forum or workshop. Certainly that can't be a bad idea, considering all the supposed misunderstanding that's going around about what people are supposed to do in the downtown. And I like what you said. I think it's very inspiring about just as a kind of a philosophical vision of how we should be trying to bring people on board to not viewing us as the enemy, but more as helpers. So I would just say that I support what you guys are talking about. I don't have anything really amazing to add.
Laurel?
God, I don't know what's wrong with my voice. My takeaway from this is just from listening and observing right now is Brian and I, we were both confused and out of the loop at the same time. So I think there's a communication problem between us, between the city and us, between the public and us. I didn't know about the ad hoc and what you were talking about in this. I would like to know and I find out stuff here at the commission as a commissioner, and it's like it's blank between the last meeting and now. So I think the ad hocs, if you're doing that and you're working with people, we should have a report on that. I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't. Could we have, do you not think that
Yeah,
we
so
could have any?
I was going to answer your
Buddy,
question, but
let me just,
Sure.
because I haven't
Sorry.
said anything until now. Any one of us might have a good idea about communication. So maybe that's always on here too. And that's what I think I think it's a really big problem.
no, I agree.
And the survey, the big, beautiful book that we're gonna get isn't gonna help.
It's
With communication.
If it's just sitting on a bookshelf somewhere, it's just not gonna help with the public. It's not gonna help with the communication at this.
Well, if along the process, we are inviting the public, we are staying transparent, we are bringing in the public to the survey, I think that will help.
Yeah, I mean,
But
there is already, you know, a survey that was done, that was basically a windshield one that was done in 2014, right? So anyway,
2011?
we're not gonna, I'm not interested in arguing this minutia. What, at the end of the day, we just all need to be, we need to know what's going on.
Right. So
We do.
what I would like to address there is when we did this, if you go back to a year ago when we had our joint council meeting, we asked for the, one of the things that we were all frustrated with was not knowing when something's supposed to come to us and all of that. That was something that was top of your list, too. 'Cause I remember you speaking about it, about how frustrated you were that we didn't have a real communication then, and so it was a lack of understanding of our position and where we're supposed to, when we're supposed to be in. So in the beginning, I was optimistic. I thought we were going to just kind of run through this and say, okay, here's a flow chart, here's our powers and functions, and we started. I asked, I think more the first few months was we were updating. If you go back and look at our agenda, we did update, but it got so painfully slow that there wasn't really anything to report. And I'm sorry, even if it was painfully slow, we still should have kept it on the agenda, and we still should have let you know what we were working on, because it does seem like we were just in the dark, but it's just been really slow. So I totally understand that you forgot it existed, because it's it's been slow. So my apologies on that. I think going forward, if we can make sure that that is updated back to our people. And the other thing I just wanted to say is one of the things you said it should be on our agenda every time. You do have really good ideas, but we need to bring those ideas to the whole group, because this fractured, like us talking on the back porch about doing a function, making sure we only have this many of us, so we stay within the Brown Act, and then it never seems to come back to here, because it's like, it's not the whole, right, it needs to, right. So what we need to do is make a better effort to go, okay, because it's all part of that education. So if we're going to do outreach, if we had talked about the pop-up that we did at Ojai Day, and you were thinking more of a doing a with food and on the back porch here or something like that, where we were inviting people in to see this campus
building,
and this building, and so that is something that. I just assumed that when we started talking about educational outreach, that's where your strength, and you were going to come in with where you wanted, so it just hadn't come up yet, but it's because everything seems to be painfully slow. So my apologies.
No, I was told out there that it wasn't wanted and that no one would come. And it was a meeting that this is where we have to have our hashing it out, we're doing our homework now, our hashing out right now. But
Well,
it's always, I've been told it has to be written down on this agenda for us, Brian brought up, before Christmas, I think it was, for a Libby award.
Yes, and that's happening
That's
too,
still-
once
We're
again.
still waiting for that to end up on the agenda.
That will be on next month's agenda. Yeah, it's just like I said, it's slow. But when I was thinking educational outreach, I was thinking that would be, and it wasn't me that, there was a difference. There was another commissioner that disagreed with more of a celebratory, they wanted something more education heavy than celebratory heavy. I think there's room for both. And you and I talked about it separately, and I think you have really good ideas. It's just painfully slow, but it's just, that is I do think that we need to have updates more frequently, and a time where we can talk, because once we break from this meeting, then we have to, before we can all talk again together as a group, it's another month. And there's only 12 of those in a year, so that's 12 times that we are talking about things as a group, and that's hard to move something forward. So I think that we need to really think about that so we don't get just stuck. We do move forward. Because I think that it is, I do believe that when Lorraine says that she hears a lot of, she heard a lot of negative feedback when it came to how we approached people with our local district. I think that we were, maybe because we are so into this, we hit them with so much thick information. It just and without workshops, without time, without, because we were in a pandemic. So it kind of, I think we need to do a better job this time. And I think that, that I know that you get frustrated, and I just don't want you to not know your worth and your value here, because
that's okay. Thanks for thinking that I'm valuable. I'm just saying that it's communication is what will help us all.
Yes. Yeah.
I felt very alienated the first while being on this too, because I couldn't understand why things weren't moving forward. Like, I think that's the problem, that it takes 10 years to get one thing done. You know what I mean? Because we can't talk. Only so many of us, for so long, it's been only two of us could talk. We couldn't, if I talked to Rick about something, I couldn't talk to you about it. And the Brown Act is something that's very serious. And it's hard to understand how government works, but we have to realize that it's the law and it's necessary. And I think we do need more communication, but I've failed to understand how to make that happen when we can't have a conversation. And then you have to put it on the agenda, and then there goes a whole nother month, and then it's just what you're saying. It's just.
So what if we wanted to
Where's
do
the
an
lawyer?
education workshop with all 7 of us and have it noticed and public? Could we do that? This is how we want to reach out. In May, we want to have this, and in October, we want to do this. And, and we work on it in a informal way, but it's posted ahead of time so we can sit here and hash out like how we would, because I think that education and relationships is how we move forward. So is there a way to do that where we can?
I think one of the things that you just said that you wanted to that you wanted to put on the joint meeting agenda is to talk about outreach, it sounded like.
Yes.
And so that would be an opportunity to ask that exact question. We want to have X number of additional meetings or something like that. So that's something that will need to be approved by the council. And then you're also asking for staff time. So get it together for your joint meeting. I mean, it sounds like you already want that on the agenda. So make it inclusive, make the conversation productive.
Okay. Does everybody think that would be good?
I don't think that's going to help one bit.
Well,
my
and I just
opinion.
wanted to add one more thing, and that is, and then you can discuss that, but I think everybody tonight would have input, and then I'm not sure if you're gonna come to consensus on the items that you want to talk to with the joint meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, you put out your ideas, and Commissioner Akins put out an idea, and so in the end, there has to be consensus about what's going to be on that agenda. It's not just all of the other 6 of you don't have to lean on the chair to make the decision
Right.
about
And
what's going to be on that agenda.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, I wanted to it would be good if you could get back to what's going to be on that agenda.
Right.
As far as answering the question that you just asked me, it looks like that's something that you want to include in your discussion with the city council, because that's one of the topics that you said you wanted to talk about with them. And
Right.
so if the rest of you want to, then that'll be on the agenda. And as far as going into the detail of it, we can't do that right now. Right
I just want
now,
to know if it was possible. It is possible.
that's something you need to ask the council if it's possible.
Okay.
To have
Right.
a brainstorming
No,
session.
to have I think what the chair asked me if there could be
Right, I know what
several
she asked.
additional meetings several special meetings, it sounded like, to talk about different outreach projects.
No.
That's what I thought I heard from the chair, and that was the question I answered. If there's a different question, please rephrase it or phrase it.
No, that's right. I don't think
Thank
there
you.
might be several, but I think if we just had a couple of meetings to just not talk business, the business, just have a workshop of, how we can all use our talents to pull something together so the year is productive with education to the public. Yeah. So if we go back to the things that I had mentioned, as far as my ideas, the survey is something that we're continuing. The train is something that we have already have approval to do. And we have budgeting for it, but we want to just make sure that they're up to date. And then the education, everything was, it wasn't out of the blue, my ideas. I'm kind of honing in on everything that we've been working on in the ad hoc, the things that we've been working on for the last year. So I just don't want it to be like the Gina show. So I have been just trying to listen to everybody over the last year and get to a point. Yes.
I was wondering, do you meet with the mayor and talk over the agenda? 'Cause
The joint council?
yeah,
Yes.
because he may have some ideas too, so maybe you should take what you've heard tonight and talk with him and come back with a proposal at the next meeting
Don't
that we
think-
can vote on, or
I don't think we have that option.
what?
If it's, well, it is the 24th,
And we meet on the 12th?
and we meet on the 12th. So would that be time enough to talk to
refine
the mayor and then bring it back to here for a vote?
As to what it is that you're going to talk about in the joint meeting?
The agenda.
The agenda for the joint meeting. The only thing I don't like about that is it doesn't give us time then to work on our messaging, because we still haven't decided. If we're not going to decide
Well, I
tonight,
think you have a basic idea of what people want.
Right,
I think
but-
they responded to.
What is it that you need to run by the mayor? If you as a commission decide on the topics that you want to discuss?
I'm sorry, what?
she wants to know what the mayor, why do we need to reach out to the mayor on this?
Well, it's a joint meeting. I just assumed that the
But it's
mayor would
your-
have some things
But
he
it's
wanted.
what you want to talk about with the city council,
Oh.
right? It's what you want to talk about with them. You're getting their ear.
Having done, 6 joint meetings together over the years, it's always been kind of this is what we'd like to talk about, and you're trying to get a relationship there, not an approval or that, just kind of what's important to you, what's important to us, and then, together we'll go with that agenda.
Right, and so then if there was something specific, I'm sorry, so I'm going to reframe what you just said to see if I got it. So you're going to talk to them about what you'd like. You're not getting a blessing at that time on specifics. Is that what you just said?
Well, it's kind of a blessing. I
Sure,
mean,
that's what I thought
because you're
too.
saying,
Right.
these are the things that are important to us that we'd like to talk about.
And so
then.
they might say to you, come back to us with some research. Or they might say to you, that's fantastic, go for it. Or right? Okay, so it is either a blessing or come back to us again with some more
Yeah,
information.
I'm a bottoms-up kind of guy, so,
Conversation.
Okay,
yeah.
right, okay.
Okay, so can I just informally start? Do you think that we should take a few minutes to just update the importance and the making sure that it is a priority with the survey? Like, what I would like from council on that is if there's a reason why the group that we hired needs to come to a council meeting. I would like to have council know that it's a priority for us, so, can it be as expedient? Can it not just, didn't get on this month, it's not on this month. So, just kind of, just letting council know that it is a priority for us and that we want to make sure that it moves forward and gets done this year.
So just so you know, the contract does not have to go to the council.
Right, I got that part.
Okay.
I just meant, because there was something that the city manager said the last time where he said that there might be many, many meetings and many, many times. And that wasn't the impression that the three of us got when we met with them. We felt that they had a plan, a mission, and they were going to stay on a goals to hit deadlines. So what I don't want is just to go off the rails and end up in some sort of city council purgatory. So I just want to, yes.
I think you can bring that up. I don't think you have to ask us or anybody in this, I mean,
Well, if
you're
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be-
in the meeting, you can just,
Well-
I mean, I know what your concern is. You don't want to see a contract in a file cabinet. You want to see a check and a file and a contract going to the people, right?
Yeah, I want it, yeah.
In
just wanted-
26.
Yes. So does anybody have, everybody okay with me
Yeah.
bringing that up? Okay, how about the train project? We have a lot of support from that, everybody that we've
Excellent.
talked to. Do you want to just give just a 1 minute to Kate so she knows what the project is?
Oh, the project is to create some signage along the Ojai Trail that will tell about the history of the train and tell about the different sites that you see, like the park and the orange packing house and the depot, and give people a little idea of the history. But these will be 2 feet by 3 feet panels that'll be at an angle along the side of the trail. And we've had a really good response from the community and from various people about it. So, and I've even, I can't mention any names, but I've got a couple of people that are groups that might want to fund quite a few of these because they really see the importance of it. And some people have even said you should expand it beyond the trail, but I think we'll stay with the trail for now. But anyway, it's just kind of getting the council to pull the trigger on it, I guess, and tell us that to go ahead and get started. And once that happens, we'll get our team together and start creating them. And
We did get a budget approval for 3 of them already, but.
before they agreed to the
4,
budget, right?
Right, but, so that was something that was really unusual, because we got an approval for a budgetary item that we didn't speak about in a joint council meeting. So we just kind of, the budget happened before the project, so that's why we just wanted to bring this up in a joint council meeting, so they understand what this project is, and that they agreed to fund the first couple of them, 3, 4 of them, depending on how much they are.
4, yeah.
4, yeah. So does everybody okay that we bring that into, okay? And
Tony Thatcher is a big fan. He brought that up when I was talking with him just the other day. So
Right.
he's very supportive of that.
he's been very supportive of most of the things.
That's
that
why
we
it's a
do.
good thing to have
Yeah.
Tony Thatcher as a very,
Yeah, and then,
and he would be okay with me mentioning that.
Half the panels are about his family. No.
Yeah.
and then the ad hoc, just to get an extension to continue to work with our 2 council people so we can finish what we started on that. Is everybody okay with asking for permission to do that? Okay, and then the outreach,
Yeah.
does everybody want to do that? Okay, and
So-
then
So what are you talking about
And-
on the outreach? You're talking about the education that you were
the
talking about?
education, doing, like the pop-up that we did, and doing more events that educate, maybe hopefully being part of the planning stages. We can get in there, and I think we could put something really nice together that we could use Commissioner Walker's skills as a historian to put something together that shows what the City Beautiful project was, and why why it was built the way it was built, and the community behind it. And so I think that it can really be done well, that can make people maybe a little sentimental value that Craig always brings, of mixed with his strengths as a teacher. So I think that I would like to make sure that we can get in on
And
that.
were we going to talk about budget items with him, or is that a future?
So it says, so the training, I think that we don't really need to discuss the training. I think that as long as we. Yeah, I think as long as that we continue our education and we continue having those two budget items of the two companies that the California Preservation Foundation and the National Register of Historic Preservation, yes. And so as long as we do that and we have opportunities, I think that that's okay. We don't need to discuss that. And then the budget request, I don't, do you ask for a budget request at that, at
It's like a
last,
whole different thing. It's,
yeah, it seems like, because the last year, we went to the meeting, and I got up and I asked for the things, the survey and the,
Right,
and the,
it's just something that you could discuss. It doesn't sound like any of the things that you want to talk about are going to cost extra money. They've already been funded. So
okay.
Yeah.
So then there's the last two things. One is the year that we're working on the survey, and we have that money that's allotted, and we need to get that survey done, and we need to get it adopted. Do we want to ask for what we used to do, which is had money for 2 or 3 landmark properties that we wanted to get reports on?
Historical resources reports.
Right, the HRRs on.
just to get the study done of various historic buildings.
I know that-
Not necessarily to landmark them, but just to, okay, these are buildings that everybody thinks are historic, but we don't really have the data, and.
Does it seem like that we need that? See, that's the whole thing with that, and with the local district. That's where my head hurts, because I don't know if that information that we're gonna get from this outside agency, it'll maybe become really
Well,
obvious.
There also are people out there that wanna landmark their houses, but don't have the money to do it, and they don't really feel like forking over $10,000 to get that done. But it would be a great community service to get it landmarked, and so it's to the community interest to get some of these buildings that are out there that are historic, to get them recognized and landmarked. And a lot of times, I think it's just a question of saying, look, the commission will take up your property and we'll study it, and we'll do what needs to be done to get it landmarked if you're interested in that.
So,
But limiting it maybe to 2 a year.
right, so the question I have is, when I came on to the commission, we did that.
We set
I
aside
don't
money
think
for that.
there's anybody working here on council or working in city staff that know that we did that. That was kind of like a normal yearly thing until COVID happened. So I think that maybe going to the budget meeting and just saying, or do we want to talk about it at the joint council meeting, like, this is what we did up until COVID. We would like to start that up again. That might be something that it would be a good thing to bring up at the joint council meeting, or we can bring it up at a budget
Because like
meeting.
one example was we took up the theater, and the commission paid for the historic report and all that work that went into it. And as a result of that, the owner agreed to landmark it, Khaled, and then the new owner took it upon himself to pay to get it made a national landmark. So it's on the National Register, and he went through that. So sometimes just starting the ball rolling by doing a study of a place and really helping people to see how historic it is and the part it played in the development of the community gets people feeling a sense of pride about it, and then they take up the cause as well. And having done that, it really helped in the court case with the theater, where the Southern California Water didn't want to pay for
Golden
all
State.
the damage, and they only wanted to pay just to rebuild it as a box. And then we took it to the court and showed them what a historic key part of the community it was, and the judge ruled in Khaled's favor and gave him enough of a payout to be able to preserve it and rebuild it. So there's a lot of benefits to doing it.
So since this is something that we did, Brian, years ago, and then it stopped during COVID, And then, if we're
Well,
asking to
it kind of
restart-
stopped during COVID because COVID impacted the funds that were coming in because people weren't going to the
But when it
the
re,
inn.
but
So
when.
just so people can go.
Right, I'm just saying, when we
Yeah.
restarted, it just kind of fell off.
Yeah.
And then and then we had such a gigantic turnover between council and staff,
Mhm.
no one knew that we did that. So I think maybe the joint council meeting would be a good time to say, so we used to do this, we'd like to restart it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I agree. So let me just make a couple of points, or put things in there. So we're doing this big survey. Some people might think, okay, that's a blessing. That's going to solve everything we need. But then if you were sitting in the city council and you listen to the city manager who has been through this and got a survey, you might have a different opinion. And I still don't understand it. What Loren said in talking to people, there are people that were, I will give you an example since he's sold his property. The filling station that's over there. Gave him all the information. He looked at every bit of the information. He understood all of the information. He said, however, I'm not doing anything that has anything to do with the city of Ojai because they jacked me around when I was
I
trying
don't
to
know
make.
if this is appropriate.
But no, I'm just trying.
Okay,
I'm
but
just
Brian,
trying
but I
to-
don't know if it's appropriate. So let's not talk about specifics like that.
So, okay, then let me just finish. So the benefit to me would be from the city side, you're going to get the survey. So could we then lessen the requirements for someone to landmark their property because we now have a third entity that's come in and given us the okay? So instead of $10,000 or $5,000 historic resources report, maybe we only need a $3,000 historic resources report. So I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I
how
think
we can
I brought
make this
this up
work.
a couple of years ago. I call it a baby version, because it was like, why, when we have so much information about a property but we don't have maybe the big report, can we do a smaller report and still get the same result? And that's
Yeah.
something I think that we probably can go to our resources of classes that we take. Or we can ask our new attorneys. They seem to be really smart when it comes to preservation and land use, and ask them if there's different versions that we don't always have to have the big one. So that,
Almost all cities or counties have these surveys done because they're almost required by CEQA. CEQA the state wants to see that you've identified which buildings are potentially historic. So if someone wants to tear them down, you have some evidence to look at as to whether it's potentially historic. So it's not just to do the survey. The survey is a more general, we're just looking at whether it's potentially historic. What we're talking about now is actually delving into the history of buildings that we already know are historic to get the facts and information that we would need to maybe give that person a benefit that they could have. There are lots of benefits for owners when they landmark their property. That's something that can help the owner. It can also educate everyone as to what actually is historic and what isn't. So it's really an important document to have. But it is important for the council to recognize that and to know what it is and what role the survey will play and to make use of it.
So again, to go on what you're saying, if you can show them that this is going to save you money and get you closer to the landmark that way, I mean, that people just want to know, how is this going to benefit me?
Yeah.
And, we're thinking it's going to be really beneficial for us, but it's going to make things less expensive.
And it also
for
is
them.
important because 90% of the properties in Ojai won't be on this, they won't be historic.
Right, and they can
And
see that
so
they
it
are.
gives the planners a way to look at that property and say, I don't even have to study this property because they already surveyed it and they found out it isn't historic. so they can move on and start looking at other features. So it's a really important planning document, as well as just of interest to the owners and the community.
Right.
Well, it's also important as it comes to the state assembly and state senate bills, because these are very powerful new bills. I don't know if all of you are very up on these. It's very, and even the people that work for the city and the city council, I don't think that most people have a clue what is in these and what devastation they can do to a town. And if we don't have this survey, we don't have anything to protect anything.
Well, it's like the people in Santa Barbara, I don't know if you've been following this, the people in Santa Barbara are actually trying to fight these 8-story buildings right behind the mission that are gonna be built. So when you're out front looking at this beautiful old mission, there could be these 8-story buildings there. And Ojai really has to be proactive on this, because we could be looking at an 8-story apartment building right behind the arcade. And the more you can identify which properties are historic and aren't historic, the better you can go to the owners and say, you know, you're not really allowed to do that, because they're given free rein unless the property is shown to be historic. So if you can document that, then you can manage at least where these buildings are built.
Yeah. The managing of it is important, because that's, you know, it's all the scale, you know.
Yeah.
Like you said, to look at the mission and see that behind it, it's just so sad. But, okay, so the survey, the train, the outreach, I keep calling it the train, but we know it, the outreach, the bringing back the 2 HRRs. The last thing is, do we want to tackle the local district this year? I think this needs to vote, because, I mean, I want this really bad. I just don't know if the survey should come first. I just don't want to push so much on the public at once, but I also really think it's important that that is a goal that we're heading towards, is national and local.
Yeah, I have a question. I have a question, maybe by way of a comment. Am I imagining this, or in other joint meetings with the HPC, haven't we before sort of gotten wrapped up in trying to address too much, and then we get in the meeting and we find out that we have less time than we thought we did? And last year, didn't we like really strategize around that?
Yes, we did.
Because we've gotten caught basically with our pants pulled down and like kind of like lost it before.
Yeah,
Hasn't that
yeah,
happened?
the meeting before last was really rough, because it did get sidelined by public comment and a lot of history and theory. So, yes, and so this last one, we timed
Buckled
it. That's why
down.
I was saying, you know, as much as I will make sure that I include the mayor in filling the agenda, but I want time to strategize how we want to approach this so we can stay on, because I was so happy with us last time, because not only did we get through it, but we had, council got it like a nice long pee break, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
it was very well done
so,
as compared to the year
but,
before.
you know, that could have been a one-off. This, you know, these are a lot more items. We had 3 items that we were talking about last year. Right now, we're talking about 5. But a lot of them is just updates, so it should be fairly quick. I think the presentation is the train. I think that we really have to understand that out of everything else. I think that's where you need to, maybe you two, you and Rick, because that's your ad hoc, is come up with a nice way to present what that is, what it's about, so they understand it. But everything else should be fairly quick.
I just want to say something. I don't mean to interrupt, but we spoke earlier, and I don't know if you want to put it on that agenda for that, or, you know, at least bring it up, with May being Preservation Month. So if you guys wanted to do something, incorporate, you know what I mean, to get it, you can always get the approval and then work on it, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't. But I thought, it'd be nice if you could maybe mention that. So if you wanted to take it and run with something, you don't miss the opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah, so we can include that in the outreach when we're talking. Yes.
So this isn't going to be the budget request, right? Or is that, okay, yes.
I mean, we're
The reason I'm
asking,
asking is because of the comments that are about the benefits of being landmarked or whatever. Yeah, they might be there on a piece of paper, but getting that benefit is very laborious for any applicant to do. And that's why people don't do it. It's that they just don't have the time and the money. And so we have talked about having a budgetary, and if we don't use it, we don't use it. But that it's available to help people, which is what the HR thing that you talked
HR.
about at one point, so that they can do things like, I don't know, whatever they have. I mean, I know that I did a landmark bill, and I didn't have any help. I had to pay for it, and it's brutal. And the whole process was very time-consuming and very expensive with a historian. And I don't think people are chomping at the bit to do that. So if we could help them, then we will get stuff. But we're gonna have to have money for that.
yeah, and having every year having 2 was really nice. And we would discuss as a commission which ones that we felt were the most in danger, and the ones that we felt needed the most help, and we would move forward. And that was a really nice way to do it. So bringing that back, I think, would be really beneficial to City of Ojai and to the people involved. So can we take a vote on 2026? Do we want to, at least for the first half, I mean, we can always change our mind. Do we want to start on the local district? Can we?
We don't have to decide now. I mean, if you decide in August.
Speaker.
If you decide in August that, hey, we've got time, it's people are up for it, we can still do it, right?
Yeah, we can take it on anytime, but if we're gonna bring it up at a joint council meeting.
But why do they need to talk about it?
I think a lot of what we're doing is presenting them with our work plan. You know,
Yeah.
what's our plan for the next year to work on? And so I think what Gina's asking is, do we want that to be a formal part of our work plan, or it's sure, we can still take it up?
Because I think structures of merit are also extremely important. But we can't do that till we get the survey.
I think the survey, is getting that not only accomplished but adopted is.
But the survey's a done deal, right? They've voted and
Oh,
they
it's-
approved it, so.
It's a done deal, but it could, like I said, you don't want it to be stuck in purgatory, we don't want
Right.
holdups. We want to.
No, I agree, the public relations thing is good.
Yeah, but also that we don't want to, I don't want to talk to council at a joint meeting and say, and this is our top priority, this is our top priority, this is, because then just kind of nothing becomes. It's a point in every direction. It's the same as no point at all. That's why I just feel like we just have to just drive home this survey, because we can't have it get off the rails. And we can't have it get done and then not adopted, like what happened last time. It has to get done, and it has to get done timely. I mean, the thought of even having it get past November with election, with how many council people, are 2 or 3 that are up for reelection, including the mayor, right?
It's all, I'll be the lone duck.
Yeah. I mean, so that could be, we don't know who will be coming in and how they'll feel about it. And all of a sudden, we have an entirely different situation. So that was something that I had talked about when we interviewed them, is keeping it efficient and moving forward quickly. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to get the contract signed as quickly as we can, so because they're ready to go. As soon as we, get that, they're ready to start. And I think that's really important, because we don't want this to just be another lame duck survey that's not adopted, because that would be tragic and a waste of money. So I think that, in my opinion, that's got to be the strong overreach of everything has got to be, this is what you have already paid for or allotted to pay for, and you agreed to it, it's done, we hired them, the contracts are going to be signed. So, just keep them on that path. And then as far as the next important thing, I think, is getting that train, because once that starts, it's going to, that's going to be a really fun thing for the community to see too. So it's the train project is almost like an even better version of the plaque project. We had the celebration and everything, but that is even on a much citywide scale where so many more people are going to see that when they're on that trail. And I think that is going to be a really good, even part of the outreach. It's going to show that what we can teach and what we can learn, what you can learn about our community. It's very different when you are walking or riding and you stop and you read and you look, and you get connect with the land and your purpose of place and why we're here so much different when you have something to read and look at and understand. And some people will only read the headlines or just look at the pictures. Some people will just read it all, but over time, that becomes part of them. And then when they're driving, they'll be pointing out to other people, oh, that's where this happened. And so it's such an important project. So I think that's something that we really need to push. But so do we want to bring, what would be the reason to bring the local district to, what would be the reason to bring it to the joint council meeting? They've indirectly, we still, just because we paused it doesn't mean we still don't have their approval. They gave us the approval to move it forward. Whether we do it in January or June or whenever, we still have their blessing, right?
I think so too. And, people voted. People can always rescind their votes. They could have rescinded the votes, or they could have changed their votes. And there's people that I think are going to go both ways, people that were waiting. But I think I would wait until you talked about education. So I think we would want to get the education in hand before we go to the council and put this forward too. So I think doing it in this council meeting, we may have the opportunity later in the year to say, hey, we have this proposal, or we'd like to put it before you. Can we arrange a joint council meeting? So I would do it later rather than right now, because I don't think we're prepared.
Okay, and that is something that I had discussed.
As much as I
I
truly enjoyed meeting all these people that I didn't
Yeah.
know and talking to, state lawyers up in Washington State. And so, yeah, but I think, the education, because things have changed. And so there's benefits that we've found out since we did that. But there's also, as Commissioner Sims said, there's also detriments. There's scary things out there. I go back to what we might have had across the street from Nordhoff had we not. And I give, credit to the Community Development Department for having done, cross those, because otherwise we'd see the Santa Barbara Mission buildings right there
Exactly.
across from Nordhoff, so.
Okay, so I think that we're set. We'll and then those things, the survey, can we divide this up to where maybe you come with with the train, can you guys go deep on that? Because that's not,
Sure, we'll throw together some slides if you want.
yeah, that'd be great.
All right.
So remember that you have maximum an hour, right? Because there's going to be Pledge of Allegiance and this and that and the other. So I'm not sure exactly what your time is, but you usually have an hour. And like you said, Commissioner Basasha, the last time it was so precise. But previous times you've been cut off. So you've got, and I'm just trying to help you guys. You've got 5 items, and like again, last year you got it down to the minute, I think. So
10
Yeah.
minutes each.
Yeah, out of those 5 items, some of them, 3 of them are just updates.
even an update could
2 of them.
go on for a long time. So if it's not timed.
But it takes longer to bring new information than it does. Yeah, but you never know, because, you know, we've had meetings where it's like, oh, we're going to be in and out, and we're here for 4 hours, so you just never know. Okay, so, yeah, let's work on that. And I don't think that the outreach needs to have a lot of, like, the details yet. I think it's more just asking for more meetings so we can have, workshops and figure out what we want to do and how we want to bring our talents to that. So I don't think that we need like a commissioner to go deep on it. And then,
I would score some points for all of the graphic work that was done at Ojai Day. And just, kind of laying that, we did this. It seemed to be very successful on Ojai Day. I know it was down at the jail. I know it was at the museum. So take a little bit of credit for something that we've already done, moving us along that path that, no one could walk away from that thinking, oh, I didn't really enjoy that, so.
yeah. And we couldn't have done it without the museum's help, so.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what they like to do.
Okay, so I think we're done on that discussion? Yeah? Okay. Do we have other things? What's number 5? Our meeting schedule. Does anybody have any questions or changes? We have a staff report on that?
Well, number 5 is your meeting schedule for 2026. And it's a page and a half of meetings, and it was brought to my attention, thank you, Commissioner Akins, that the last meeting in December, it says finalized plans for January 26, but it should be 27.
Yeah, that kind of threw me.
Right.
My mind was still working on it 4 hours later.
Right, for goal setting for the next year. So anyway, these are the items that are generally on these dates. So if you have any.
And are the awards going out this next Tuesday? for
Yes, yes, they are.
Okay.
And
sure?
chairs,
We can all show up if we want? Or
of course. Yeah, it's on the 13th, I think.
Yes.
And
Tuesday.
Chair is aware, and I think Commissioner Akins is going to be presenting the awards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and of course, all of you are welcome to go to the council meeting.
Commissioner Akins was telling me today when I asked him if he was interested in doing that it kind of fell on his lap over the years just because none of the other commissioners had shown up to do it. And he's just kind of honed in a very, nice presentation. And so I just was like, why change it up? You've always done such a good job with it. So I was happy that he wanted to
you go.
continue his
No, it's
tradition.
perfect.
7? or
Appreciate
6?
asking.
What time does it
Meeting
start?
starts at
Meeting
6.
starts at 6.
6, and it's usually the first thing on the agenda, right?
Usually they do presentations and recognitions towards the beginning,
Okay.
usually.
Okay. Does anybody have any other schedule changes on? Okay,
Let's see.
so we can go to item 6. There was an update that went out today about something on the 22nd, that's Thursday the 22nd, that's about the best preservation communities are ones that have a good solid base of people, well, like Rick, who knows how to build or rehabilitate a historic building. And it's all about trying to find skilled people or encourage skilled people to be part of that, if they're part of your community, that know how to work in landmarking. It was also like so many of these things, seemed like it was, I know you don't have much time, but it seemed like it was geared more toward you than, than us. Because it said, city staff and city planners, and it didn't even really mention preservation commissioners until like the very bottom of it. So I don't know if you have the time, but you can always watch it afterwards too. But it seemed like one that the city might be interested in, how we can get some good people to, or just, start developing a list with other communities. I don't know, we'll see what are you gonna go, Lorianne?
Oh, I signed up for it already.
I haven't.
Yeah, I asked Ida, she took care of it immediately, 5 minutes later. You're signed up.
Awesome.
I appreciated that.
So I don't really have any other updates right now for the education. So,
A talk tomorrow at the Ojai retreat at 2:00 by Richard Handley, that was one of the founders of the Ojai Valley Land Conservancy, and he's going to talk about the battles that went on, I think, to create the Besant Meadow and the Land Conservancy. So if you're interested in the early history of that whole thing and how it happened, it's free, so.
where would you go to find
The
that?
Ojai retreat in Miners Oaks up on the hill, and 2:00.
Okay. Thank you. So now we go to future agenda items.
So as you can see here, on February 12th, we've got the Edward Drummond Libby City Beautiful Award for the agenda, and March, talk about the budget and the timer. And coming up in April, you'll discuss the terms for chair and vice chair. And this is your tentative future agenda items.
So
Thus far.
on the City Beautiful Award, there was, a question or two that you wanted to get resolved. So are we good to go?
Staff will, the plan is to have it on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to
Okay.
make sure I'm, not doing a lot of work, and that,
Well, it's, as soon as it's definitely on the agenda, you're gonna know. How's that?
yeah.
Okay.
Which is not helpful, but yes, no, it's important. The good part is, it's a fun research, so, and an educational research, so, yeah, on that.
Just a question. Why didn't we have an attorney present tonight?
My understanding right now is that an attorney will be here when there's a public hearing item, and not one, and we did have one this evening, except that was a returning item. So that's my understanding right now. I was under the impression that we would have one every meeting. So.
Okay. Okay. Do we have commissioner comments?
I just wanted to make a comment about the attorney situation, which I was looking forward to having somebody here. Mainly because, just this evening, we had, Lorraine mentioned, how serious the Brown Act is, and I definitely think the fear of being sued, which has been brought up to me multiple times by different people, is stifling to conversation. And so it's nice to be able to say to an attorney, is this something we should be worried about if we want to talk about having a pop-up tent somewhere? And we want to brainstorm, wine and cheese or water or whatever at a meet and greet so we can educate people. Is this going to be out of line if 4 of us are talking about this? And so I would really love to be able to have help when we're every once in a while. So,
Yes, Maura?
So, something for future agenda items. Thank you very much. The next agenda, the next agenda will include an attorney giving a presentation to what is it? What did you have today, Kate? No, it wasn't an orientation. She was educated by the attorney just because she was coming into the meeting today, because we have a new attorney's office, or a new attorney. Training, yes, sorry,
Yeah,
thank
'cause
you.
there's-
Thank you so much,
Well,
Commissioner
no,
Akins.
because
Yes.
there's a requirement
So,
that she
right.
has to have
Thank you.
training within a
So,
time.
Right,
set
so
time period.
annually, you have all had training annually, and there will be training at the next meeting. It'll be a repeat from what you've already had.
But they're all the new changes. I mean,
Um,
Dr. Quillisi just sent out, did you see the voluminous number of pages?
So, of course, any updates since your last training, and if you're new to the commission, and also we have it'll be from a different attorney, and that'll be on the next agenda.
So Chair, I had a commissioner comment real quick.
Yes.
Harry Hunt passed away just within the last couple weeks. Harry Hunt Jr. So I think he was 92 at the time. His family has, since we essentially adopted it, put the plaque in place. If you're at the jail for Ojai Day, you saw how fabulously they looked at two things. They looked at the artwork that we had there, and then they looked at the plaque. And the family, I've been in contact with Harry and with Kimberly. They have always been so appreciative of our putting that plaque together and recognizing his father and, just the Hunt family within the valley. So I just wanted to pass that along because, to them, we are part of the family.
When is the service?
It's this coming Saturday. If you look at 12:45, I was checking my texts, and you see, usually it's 4, you'll see a flyover coming. I think they're the group that comes out of Santa Paula.
Wow.
They go to the airport, they look at the top of South Mountain, and they go, okay, we can fly today. That's what I've heard. So, again, wonderful family and very, very appreciative, so very appreciative of what we did for them.
Very good. For future agenda items and commissioner comments, I wanted to bring up now, can we maybe talk about paint colors? And I think if we had one before, right? That these are the colors that you could use in the arcade. And then there wasn't any question, and then it kind of, I think that, like these questions of, is these colors, and is it a different, company or version? I think that if a applicant knew that this was these paint colors that they could use, then it takes out a lot of, well, you said you weren't going to use that, and now that this isn't the same as that. And so I think that it's time to do that again, to update the paint colors for the arcade. To make the arcade paint colors, to make sure that we're all, that the applicant is getting the same information that we're getting, and that there's paint chips and we all understand and it's agreed.
Isn't there a set of swatches
Well,
that
it's a huge
have been
book.
adopted already?
So there is a swatch, or a group of them, and they're from Dunn Edwards, and even though the colors are out of date, the number is still valid. And the design guidelines state that they don't say that you have to go off of that list. They have to be like natural colors or in nature. And anyway, I don't have the language in the design guidelines in front of me, but Chair was correct that this was on the agenda at one time, I don't know how many years ago, to have it, that you all discussed, or some of you discussed the colors and wanted to update them or not update them. And if you want to put that on the agenda for a discussion, then I'll put it on the agenda for discussion.
Just like the colors that was used on this project, Saddle Up, Navajo White, and what was the red one? Rustic Red. And it just would be nice if you were to look at the project at, high noon, that rustic red's gonna look different than it is in the evening or at, early in the morning. So, if we just had a understanding that rustic red is this color and this paint chip, and it's gonna look different, and but as long as this is the paint that you buy and this is the color, then we're good, because I feel like, today you wanted to come and get paint chips and compare, because the color on it looks so different than this. And so I just think maybe it was time to just make sure that we're having the same conversation, that we all understand that these are within the range or something, just so we can not question and have to worry that it's the wrong color or a wrong version of the color, the same name, different color.
How many are there? Do you know how many colors are part of the palette?
Oh, no, I have no idea. I mean,
I
100.
mean, it can't be
I have
more than 20.
Well, you saw, it's
Well, yeah.
this long, and there's like 7 colors on each thing, and then
Those
there's
aren't,
this.
those aren't all part of what goes on here, because I looked through that whole thing, and there are a lot in there that I don't think apply.
That's because, like, for instance, a sign came before you a few years ago, and the colors were from nature, and they were like soft or something. So the colors don't have to be from that palette exactly.
So when people come here to ask for the colors, like what
Here
I
or
was
to the
worried
front
about here.
desk?
Well, if it's, all I'm interested in is historic preservation stuff. I can't take on the whole city and what they're gonna paint other buildings.
No, I
But
mean,
if it's this part that we're responsible for, I think that we should be given actual chips of those paints,
So I
which we
think,
haven't been.
right, so generally, and you're correct, that for this project recently, the chips, you did not see chips, but the chips are gonna come to the meeting. And so when you get your plans and it says that it's Sherwin-Williams HBC 123, it would behoove you to look that up and see the actual color.
But when you do that, because I did that today, and you look up the actual color, it's different from what it's painted.
Okay, so all that I'm saying is that you want to look that up as opposed to what you see on your plan. And the reason I say that is because when we get the plan, it's been copied.
No, I know
And
that.
so the color is going to be altered. As far as what happens out there on the building, I mean, if it says, if you see on the plan that it's Sherwin-Williams ABCD, and the bucket that they got from Sherwin-Williams says Sherwin-Williams ABCD, and it looks different on the wall, I mean, I really don't know what to, I really don't know what to say, except, I mean, we could question the painter, did you use this color? And if they say yes, but it looks different at different times, of course it's gonna look different at different times and in different shadows. I have my whole downstairs is painted the same color, but it looks different on every wall all the time. We can't do anything about that.
No, but I mean, if you look at, the white down there is white, it's not Navajo.
Well,
whether
so a commissioner questioned me about that today, and so we've got somebody going out and looking at the
Maybe
paint
it
colors,
is.
and so we talked about that earlier. Somebody is gonna go out and look to see if the paint colors at the project that was here this evening are what was approved, and if they're not, they're gonna have to repaint them.
And I guess what I wish, if you find that they are, that we had in this body actual paint chips here so that we could look at them, because I never would have approved
I-
one of those colors.
but even
Right,
then, you're looking at it under fluorescent lights in the evening. It's still gonna look completely
So,
different.
But it
and
would still be
so-
better to get a,
You need to have a big
Right, so
swatch.
it's,
whoever's building or
Yeah.
remodeling this building has to submit paint chips.
it's most appropriate to bring the paint chips and the material and color board to the meeting. Okay, that's most appropriate, and you can expect that. You should also, my advice, if I can advise you, is to do your research, and when you see in your packets, because you're probably not gonna get your own color board and material board. So when it says what the color is, look it up online or go to a paint store. because you're not going to get the actual color until you come to the meeting.
But Maura, the problem is that I did look these up online.
Okay.
And I had a big screen.
Okay.
And it's not the same.
Okay, so the paint colors, so I
I don't know what we're gonna find out. That's gonna be very interesting.
yeah, you know, all I can do is look into it and go out there and check
Also,
the paint colors.
finish, the paint, the finish of the paint, you can speak to this, the sheen of the paint and what they're using. And that's not specified here. Is this, is this high gloss? Is this flat? Is this what? And I think that's another thing we need to be concerned about when we're talking about paint, is what are they using?
You brought that up one time.
I did.
Like a good year ago.
Yes.
And I remember that evening. And so that's something that you should bring up when something is before you.
So do you think that we want to pass this as a future agenda item, or do you think it's, if there's some leeway in there where they don't have to, they could have something of nature, then there's really, it's very per case instead of these are your paint chips.
Right, and so that's why you have the opportunity to review them. And so if you'd like, I think something that I could offer is that staff bring you that swatch every time there's a paint color that's being proposed. See if it's in the family. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm leading you, but you need to ask for what you want. Putting it on the agenda, it sounded like a couple of years ago somebody wanted to change the colors. So if you don't want to change the colors, I don't know what it is that you wanted on the agenda for.
You wanted to expand the colors.
No,
About 6 months ago?
No, there was a previous
Well, I just
commission.
mentioned
Yeah.
it, that it had been a discussion that took place prior to that. but
Right.
I
So-
have no idea on colors. That's why
So
I
I
always
think-
defer to my wife.
So I think it's reasonable for the commission to expect that a color board and color and material board be presented for every case that has an exterior change in color and material. That is a reasonable expectation. And the only thing I'm suggesting that staff could add to that is to actually bring that Dunn Edwards booklet that we have. And then you have that to compare to. And again, it wouldn't be exact to compare like for like, but is it in the family? I mean, it's up to you. It's your. So, if you'd like that, we can add that in. Other than that, I'm not sure what it is that you want to discuss. And if the color is different out there, but it is the actual color that was approved,
If
I don't know what to
if
say.
there are colors that the applicant can use that are in the family or in nature, so it really is a case by case. So I don't think it needs to be on the agenda because we're not approving a set of colors. So never mind.
As long as it comes here on a color board or something like that, so that we can have it, and the sheen and everything else. Because even with the discussion today, I know what the sheen is down there. Some of it's not appropriate, I will tell you that. And then it's also, I mean, you want to get even farther into this, how are you going to wash the paint? Because some of the paint that has been used on some of the buildings, you can't wash it. It's going to all come off. You know this, you address this. Can you tell them what I'm talking about?
Well, just simply said, like flat paint, for example, is harder to keep clean and harder to clean than, say, something that has some, more brilliance or more gloss to it. And there's several levels of different paints, from flat to gloss and everything in between. So that encapsulates what you're trying to say.
Yeah, because I think it was the Lavender Inn. You can't, these buildings, some of them are so delicate that you want to make sure you paint them with something that it can be cleaned, because you can't take a power washer. Well, you can't do a lot of this stuff, but you've got to be able to clean these things. I mean, this is just getting into the weeds, but
It does need to be on a case by case. Yeah. Almost like a condition, it's like please make sure you are, it's fine with this color, but make sure it's, can be washed and make sure, yeah. Right?
Gina, I'm sorry, I checked out. So if, so, you're gonna write that down? So I think that it's within your purview to talk about the level of gloss. It was done in the past, as you know, and it can be done in the future. And you are the authority to ask questions and condition projects. So if somebody comes in with Sherwin-Williams ABC and you don't find or not, if that's not stated, it's for you to request to ask what is proposed, and if you don't find that that's appropriate, that's also part of, in your purview, okay?
Chair,
I think too that before we
Okay.
decide on colors, we need to first go over the historic report because it has a lot to say about how the colors are supposed to relate to each other in the arcade, so that you don't have a bright blue one and a bright yellow one next to it, and have a whole hodgepodge. It's supposed to blend and have this uniform quality. Not that they all have to be the same color, but they just have to have a certain blending to them. So sometimes I think when we get a request for a color, it's just looking at that one building, but we have to see how it, yeah.
Chair, real quick.
Yes.
So, Green Coalition, they have a tour coming up on Saturday, January 17th from 11 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. And if this commissioner can, if he's there, we'll be able to get into the spooky carriage house, because I always go over and get the key to break in, or to go in there. So, anyway, coming up on the 17th, 11 to 12:15, they're taking reservations. No cost, but they just try to keep it down. And Kathy Nolan generally leads that group.
Are they gonna come back and tell us what they've decided on the trellis and the badminton court and all those things they asked us about?
They're putting in a presentation that's going to go to the city council, so it's a good question.
they
I don't
should-
know where they are.
I mean,
on
we
that.
should approve it because it is a landmark, so it should come here.
Yeah, no, good point.
Okay.
I'll check on that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then, anybody else have commissioner comments? Then can we bring up our council person? Thank you.
I can't believe it's been a year. Oh my gosh. So you guys were my first commission, and I just, special bond here with all of you guys. So I appreciate everything you do. Excited about a new term, helping you guys out and listening to what you have planned. And you can always reach out to me anytime. So thank you guys for what you do. I know it's a lot of work, and at times you just feel like hitting your head against the wall, 'cause I get that feeling as well. So together we'll get through it. So just patience and keep doing what you're doing, because it's working. And
And
welcome. It's
once
so
a-
nice to see a young face. Thank you. Well, hey, yeah. Thank you.
And once again, thank you for the ad hoc and the amount of hours. I mean, we started meeting monthly, and then we were like, can we meet weekly for a little bit? And we thought that was going to go really fast, and we're still. I mean, we took off a couple weeks for the holidays, but we're meeting on Monday again, and
It's a lot, but you know what? I feel we're making progress, and in the end, when it's done, we won't remember all of the hours that we put in.
yes.
So I think
But
it'll
we
be good.
will have future agenda items. Can we have an ad hoc update? So we remember just to keep everybody informed what we're working on.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we're done? Yeah? Any last words, Maura? Am I out? Okay. We're done. Thank you.